That night, when my gaze finally caught Luna's soft amber eyes across the dim living room, the air seemed to thicken. It wasn't loud or obvious, no crash. No sudden light, no dramatic music cue like in the movies. Just a quiet, insistent pull that made my breath catch, and held it there. If you think this is simply another tale of a lonely woman and her loyal dog, I'm asking you to stay with me until the very end. Because the deepest truths rarely announce themselves. They slip in when the house is perfectly still, and your own heartbeat feels too loud to ignore. House had always felt oversized for one person. High ceilings caught every small sound and threw it back empty. The backyard sprawled wide and green, waiting for voices and footsteps that never arrived anymore. It no longer felt like a home. It felt like an elegant echo of something that used to be full. Luna had been with us for 7 years, now a golden retriever with a slightly clumsy stride, thick cream-colored fur, and those steady, knowing eyes that lingered just a second longer than necessary. She wasn't merely a pet. She was rhythm. She was the one constant when everything else drifted. My husband's work carried him to distant cities for weeks at a time. When the front door clicked shut behind him, silence moved in like damp fog, settling into corners and staying. Luna never let the quiet wing completely. Every evening she greeted me the same way, slow tail sweep, warm body pressing close, a gentle reminder that I still existed in someone's world, even if that someone had 4 paws and no words. That night began like so many others. I tried to fill the space. The television murmured low, a playlist drifted without touching me. An audiobook narrator spoke of lies I couldn't feel. Dinner was reheated, tasteless, eaten standing at the counter. Later I folded myself into the corner of the couch with a glass of red wine, legs tucked beneath me. Luna settled near my feet the way she always did when the air felt heavier than usual. Without thought, I let my hand drop to her shoulder, fingers sinking into warm fur. You're all I really have tonight, I whispered. She let out a long, slow breath. Her tail gave one soft thump against the rug. That small sound, so ordinary, so instinctive, tightened something behind my ribs. It wasn't just affection that unsettled me. It was how badly I needed it. Time stretched, scrolled past images of full tables, laughing children, hands clasped in easy intimacy. Contrast pressed against my chest. Luna shifted closer until her head rested heavy and warm against my thigh. I smiled despite the ache. Wasn't entirely alone. My fingers moved slowly through her coat, tracing the steady rise and fall of her breathing. Her warmth felt solid, alive, undeniably present. You're such a good girl, I murmured. Another soft sigh answered me. In that moment the lines I hadn't noticed began to blur, not in any physical way, but somewhere deeper, somewhere emotional. She was no longer only a dog. She had quietly become the safe place my heart went when every other door stayed closed. Later, when the house sank into a thicker hush, I found myself speaking to her in full sentences, not because I thought she understood grammar or context, but because the words felt less dangerous when they landed against soft fur instead of another person's judgment. There are nights, I said quietly, when I wonder if he even notices how long he's been gone. Luna's ears flicked forward. I laughed at my own absurdity, but the sound came out thin, and still she stayed head tilted, eyes steady like she was actually listening. The refrigerator clicked. The wall clock measured seconds with indifferent ticks. Luna's breathing remained slow, even grounding. The silence no longer felt like absence. It felt like space we shared. That was when I first sensed how much of myself I'd quietly poured into this gentle companionship, how much weight one warm body could carry without complaint. Part 2, word count 700. The days after that melted into one another without clear edges. Morning walks under pale skies, afternoons that stretched empty and long, evenings dissolving back into the couch's familiar curve. Luna trailed me through the house like a soft shadow, her paws padding quietly from kitchen to hallway, never straying far. That steady presence wrapped around me tighter each time, turning comfort into something I couldn't imagine without. It wasn't just habit anymore, it felt essential, like air I hadn't noticed until it thickened. At the park one afternoon, I let her off the leash and watched her bound across the grass, ears flapping, body loose and free. She chased nothing in particular, tongue lolling and pure, Unthinking joy. It stirred a quiet envy in my chest. You don't complicate anything, do you? I called softly, laughing as she circled back. Pressing her damp nose against my palm, her tail whipped wildly, and for a moment, the world felt lighter, but as she settled beside me on the bench, head warm against my knee, that lightness shifted. I started talking again, words spilling out in the open air. Safer here than anywhere else, my marriage. It's more routine than real connection these days, I admitted, voice low. The silence isn't sudden. It's just grown louder over time. Luna lifted her gaze, eyes steady and UMBLINKING. In that look, I felt exposed, seen in a way that twisted my heart. Comfort had deepened into reliance. And reliance edged towards something I couldn't name. A quiet substitution for the warmth I craved elsewhere, not passion or forbidden longing, but a gentle filling of empty spaces with something never meant to hold them all. We walked home slowly, her shoulder brushing my leg with each step. The house welcomed us back with its familiar hush. But my mind raced ahead. What if this bond grew even stronger? What lines might blur next if the absences stretched longer? That evening, as shadows lengthened across the walls, I poured another glass of wine and sank into the cushions. Luna curled nearby, her breathing a soft rhythm against the quiet. I traced patterns in her fur absent-mindedly, feeling the subtle heat of her body radiate through my fingertips. It was intimate in its simplicity, two beings sharing space. No expectations, just presence, but that very ease unsettled me now. I had traded human touch for this unspoken understanding, and the weight of it pressed heavier. Does he even think about what this does to me? I whispered into the dim light. Luna shifted, her sigh warm against my skin. It felt like an answer, even if it wasn't. The clock's ticking grew distant as my thoughts circled. Loneliness didn't always drive you toward people. Sometimes it anchored you to whatever stayed close, reshaping it into more than it should be. Lying in bed later, with Luna settled at the foot of the mattress, her weight a reassuring pressure against my legs, the house felt quieter than ever before, yet my mind roared with clarity. I realized then how isolation can redraw emotional naps, turning safe harbors into hidden traps. Comfort twisted into dependency without warning, filling voids it was never designed for. And in that recognition lay the quiet urgency. See it now? Before the lines fade completely. This wasn't about anything illicit or dramatic. It was a whisper of how solitude reshapes us, how we cling to warmth in whatever form it arrives, about acknowledging when a gentle bond starts carrying too much, and finding the courage to seek what's truly missing.